joining me on a quilting tale today. My name is Shaylin, and today I want to share about my recent visit to the Sewing and Stitchery Expo in Puyallup, Washington at the fairgrounds. This was the 40-year anniversary of the Sew Expo, and it was my first time attending, and so I don't have a lot of background to compare it to as opposed to how it's been over the last 40 years, but I sure enjoyed myself and I wanted to share a little bit about that trip. But before I do, I want to say thank you to Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. She gave me a shout out a few weeks ago on her YouTube channel, and it was so fun to read comments from some of her viewers saying that they sent her. And so I thought that I would keep that going, and I wanted to share a channel that I really enjoy watching, and that is Edie's Craft Room. Hannah Catherine is the host of that channel, and she does a great job just sharing her enthusiasm and love of all things quilting, and she even branches out into other things. Like recently she made a quilted jacket, which was pretty cool to see. But I just love how she's not afraid to try different quilting techniques and up her skills and just push herself to do things that she may have been intimidated to try before, and she's just getting beautiful results, and it's just fun to watch. There's a little something for everyone. She's doing a quilt right now with batiks, and she's doing a quilt with Lori Holt and with solid colors, and so it's just fun to see what she's up to. And like I said, she's very enthusiastic about it. It's kind of contagious and makes you want to try it too. So I think you're doing a great job, Hannah Catherine, and feel free to pop over to her channel. I will leave a link to it in the description below, and you can tell her that Shaylin from A Quilting Tale sent you. So with that, let's get back into the Sewing and Stitchery Expo visit. I really enjoyed myself. There were lots of vendors there, not just for quilting, but there were bag making vendors, garment sewing, and just all kinds of other crafts. There were also classes. I was able to take a couple there and get some inspiration and ideas, and so it was just a wonderful way to spend a Saturday. And so I thought I would share some of the treasures that I brought home from my trip there. And I'm actually going to start a project with some of the materials that I got at the expo, so I'll talk about that a little more later in the video. But let's dive right in and I'll show you what I found. Start with patterns that I picked up. At the Bella Rose Quilts booth, I found two patterns by Aria and Ava that I thought were really pretty. Both are pre-cut friendly. This one is called Gladness, and it's a 62 by 83 inch throw. And then there's another one, pretty floral one, called Mary Rose that uses fat quarters. And I thought this would be really pretty. I have a fat quarter bundle called Sophia that I haven't used yet, and I thought that would look really pretty with this pattern. And then at Material Girlfriends, I picked up one of their patterns, and they're the pattern creators who were there at the booth, called Confetti Star. I thought this one was so pretty, seeing her sample, and then she showed me within the pattern several different colorways and different looks you can get just by changing up the colors. So I'm excited to make this one. You can use layer cakes for it. It makes a 48 by 64 inch quilt. I also picked up from their booth a 2.5 inch by 18 inch ruler to help with some of the piecing. It looked like it would make it really simple to do, and so I thought this one would be handy too for cutting jelly roll strip sizes, so I don't have a ruler like this. On to fabric. I'm gearing up to make a sampler quilt using 1930s reproduction prints, and so I found a couple booths that had some that I thought would work with the quilt. And so these ones over here came from Starlit Quilts, and they had some good deals where you buy a certain number of fat quarters, you get one free. And these ones I also got that I don't think I'm going to use in that quilt, but it was just part of that deal. So lots of pretty kind of dainty, soft pastel colored prints here. And then Sisters Quilt Shop from Chehalis, Washington was also there, and they had bolts of fabric and were kind enough to cut me some fat quarters. And so these, I believe, are all Riley Blake Designs 1930s playtime prints. And I really like these because it has, you know, kids playing, it has the little ducks. I don't know how well those show up there. Those were really sweet. Little pink background with elephants. So again, a lot of the pastels. There's some bunnies. So I had a lot of floral, so I was happy to find their booth, which had several kind of character prints with people and sweet little animals. So those will work nicely. And then I think I had the least amount of purple fabrics, the light purple, so I was able to pick up a couple of those. Good Vibes Quilt Shop had a really cute booth setup. I loved their little VW bus. That was their counter in the front. They had a ton of poppy cotton fabric, and so this was a line I hadn't seen before. I thought she said it was a newer line. It's called Garden Party, and they were having specials with all of their pre-cuts, and so even their newer line had a good discount. I'm going to keep this one in the cellophane just because I'd like to display it and I don't want it to get dusty or anything. So I'm going to keep it protected, but you can see that soft color palette in there. Maybe I can find a picture and pop it up so you can see what's on it. But yeah, just cute little gardening tools and just those soft colors that poppy cotton is known for. So I really liked that booth. Can't wait to make something with this. These bundles also came from Starlit Quilts booth. They had some really good prices on their fat quarter bundles, and they also had a buy one get one half off, and so I got 2 of these. I think this line is a new line called Julia. And I'm a fan of strawberries on fabric. This one has strawberries and cherries and the little blossoms, which I think are very pretty. And then just some red and blue. So I thought this one was really lovely. This one has little birds and teacups and teapots, florals. And then I'm guessing this one has some fig tree in it. I'm just looking at that print in there. But I liked kind of the red, white, and blues in here. I actually think they look really nice together. But there's some kind of blender prints in there with the eyelet dots and polka dots, stripes. So I thought that was a really cute bundle. And I just love how they're packaged with the ribbon made of the fabric there. And then this I'm really excited about. I mentioned I'm going to try to make a quilt in a day. And so this was a 3-yard bundle. And again, they had a good price on this already. But then it was also, if you buy one of their 3-yard bundles, you get a free pattern. And so these are those 3-yard patterns from Fabric Cafe. So I picked out this one. So I'm going to attempt to make this today and see if I can make the whole quilt. It looks easy enough. I don't know if I'll get the backing and binding on it, but I bet I can get the top done in one day. So As far as the prints, I haven't opened this yet, but I know this one is from that Julia line. It's the same one here. And I don't know, this looks like it might be a poppy cotton dot. This reminds me of the Camille Roskelly, like a dwell or shoreline. She has that kind of green in it. So that's what I'm going to guess for that one. But I'm going to go ahead and open it. Break the seal there, and maybe the selvages will say what they are. So this one, oh, this is a Bee Dots by Lori Holt. And this one, let's see if I can find it. Here we go. Ooh, called Sunshine and Sweet Tea, which is also a Riley Blake. All right, and let's see about this one here. Oh, and I can see it right there. That one is Julia by Crystal Manning. So 3 very pretty fabrics. And after I'm done showing you what I got, I'm going to start making this quilt here. The quilt pattern is called Windmill, and it makes a throw size quilt of 44.5 by 55.5 out of 3 yards. So I just need to provide the backing. I'm trying to remember if binding is part of this or not. Looking at the picture, it looks like it matches, so maybe it is. But once I open it up, I'll know for sure if binding is part of that. But it also needs 3 yards of backing. And I think I'm just going to use, I have some just solid pink. I want to try quilting this on my machine as well, rather than take it to the long arm. And so I thought a solid might be fun to show the thread on the back. So I'll have to think about what I'll do for quilting it, but I'm just going to go ahead and use this solid pink because I thought it would go nicely with the rest of it. And that's just what I have on hand that I think could coordinate. All right, these came from the Superior Threads booth, and the reason I have Cole's Quilts card here is I took a class from Cole Whitaker on how to create your own foundation paper piecing patterns, and I didn't realize that I had gone to the International Quilt Festival in Houston a couple years ago, and I saw this winning quilt. This is kind of a little zoom in of it that was made from a photograph, and then he had turned it into foundation paper piecing and into blocks. And I didn't realize he was the creator of that quilt. So he was showing us some software you could use and kind of an overview of how to make a quilt out of a photograph. So that's something I'm excited to try. But the reason I'm putting his card with these threads here is because his class had a drawing for prizes at the end, and they were from Superior Threads booth. And so my name was drawn for one of them, and I got these kind of shimmery threads here. They're all kind of neutral grays and blacks, just darker colors, lighter colors on the top there. So I thought that was really neat to get. Trying to see if it says they're 40 weight 2-ply polyester threads. So that'll be nice to have some neutrals there. And then they also offered a discount at their booth for going to his class. So I picked up some variegated threads, and these are all, she said, for just the top thread only, not the bottom, but they're 40 weight polyester threads as well from Fantastico. And they had fun names. I don't see the names on the spools, but I can show you the numbers. This is 5006. And it has just some kind of beachy, it reminds me of sea glass colors in there. Some dark blues, light blues, aquas. Oh, that one was pretty. This one, 5034, I'm pretty sure was called "'Tis the Season," but it's a Christmassy reds and greens, and I think there's some pinks in there too. So I got a kind of holiday one, and then I got a red, white, and blue patriotic one. I can't remember if this one was, I don't even want to guess the name, but it had a patriotic sounding name. 5033. And then I love the soft colors in this one. This is 5024, and it just has pinks and blues and yellows and greens. I actually thought this might work well quilting something with that poppy cotton fat quarter bundle that I got. See how nicely those would look together. So really excited to try some more free motion quilting, or just getting smaller quilts done on my domestic machine. I'm going to show you my favorite find. I was passing the Oliso booth and was watching a demonstration with their mini iron, and I thought they came in some fun colors. An iron isn't really something that I needed, but then I saw this box that said Tula Pink, and I saw her little Besties goldfish from one of her newer fabric lines, and I just needed to see what was in it. And when I saw it, even though I don't need another iron, I knew this was going to be one that I would be thinking about all the time and wishing that I had got it, especially while it was a show special. And so I went ahead and got the Tula Pink limited edition project iron. There was the project iron, which is the small one, and a full-size iron. Both had the same design, but I went ahead and got the mini from Oliso, and so I'm going to show you what that looks like now. It's even fun when you open the box. Look at that. I got the mini iron, and isn't that cute? At first I thought it looked like the print that had the swallows all over it, those little birds and the colors, but I noticed, no, it's the goldfish, which I love even more. And then it's the bright happy pink with the aqua. It has a light, so when you're ironing you can see what you're ironing for better precision. And then it has 2 steam features. You can press a button for steam to come out of the top or the bottom, or both for big bursts of steam. So we see the bottom on the sole plate there where it comes from the top and bottom, and then there's that little Tula Pink logo there. You can switch the cord to make it right-handed or left-handed. So he said it just can unscrew and swap out. So I just thought this was such a cute iron. And then it came with this little plate. You can store it by putting the plate on it. It just wraps around like so, or turn it over and rest it on there when you're using it. So to show, they also have the little water filling tank here with the max fill line, so that's really easy to see. I just thought this one was so cute. I had never seen one like this before, and they were having a show special where it was discounted, and so I just really loved it, and that was my big splurge, because I really don't need another iron, but I thought it was too cute to pass up. So I think I'm going to take this iron on her maiden voyage and start that 3-yard quilt using the windmill pattern. I'm going to start prepping my fabric. I'll still use my big iron just to get these yard cuts ready, but then when it's time to press the blocks, I'm going to try this out. Alright, I've got my pile of strip pieces to make the strip sets. I've got my borders, my binding strips, and then this is just the leftover fabric. So you can see we use the most of fabric 3 here, have the most of fabric 2 left. I've got the water inside, turned it to my setting. I'm going to press the standby button and just let it heat up. You can see it's flashing. So I'm going to wait for the flashing to stop. So it took less than a minute for that light to stop pulsing, so that should mean it's ready. I notice when I tilt it up, the light on the top goes off, and then when you're ready to iron and tilt it down, it comes back on. And it said to give it a few puffs of steam before trying it on the fabric. There we go. It comes out really nicely. All right, I'm ready to start ironing with it. I have the first 2 pressed with the seams open since there aren't any seams to nest. And since this is a directional fabric, I made half of them where the fruit bottoms were pointing to the fabric 2, and then half of them where the tops of the fruits were pointing to fabric 2. So that way it should allow me to have enough pieces to keep them all going the direction I want them to. I've made 2 stacks of piles with the directional print going the right way. And so these are going to be my row A, these are going to be my row B, and so you just alternate rows A, B, A, B, and so on. I'm going to press the seams in all the row A's to one side and then the seams of row B to the other so that these seams will nest. And then once the blocks are sewn into rows, I'll sew them all together to complete the top. is the finished quilt top, and I know I can't get it all in on the camera, so I will show a picture of it all zoomed out. But I was able to get the top done in a day. I didn't time how long it took, but I would say probably somewhere around 7 hours, I'm thinking. It seemed like most of the work was in the fabric prep and making the strip sets to subcut. But the sewing actually went together pretty quickly. So this was a nice beginner-friendly pattern, and it's just really cute and whimsical with those berries all over it. So I'm going to be quilting it on my machine and then binding it. And I was looking at the binding in the pattern. Part of the 3 yards does include the binding, so it'll match the outer border fabric, fabric number 3. But it's a different method. It wants 1 1/4 inch strips, and so it'll be a method of binding I haven't done before, but I'm going to try it. Rather than do the 2 1/2 inch strips or the 2 1/4 strips I would usually use, it doesn't use the double fold method. So I thought I would just follow along with what the pattern suggests and see how I like that. So that'll be in a later video. I'll show you the finished quilt, but this one is really cute and really satisfying to get a whole quilt top done in a day. So I hope you enjoyed watching that and seeing some of the things I brought home. I can't wait to make more with those fabrics, and I love that Oliso iron. It's so cute and it works really well, and it's just going to make me happy every time I sew with it. So thank you again for watching. I will see you next time.